فإن فيه الأقاويل الأكاذيب والظلم فاش بلا لوم ولا نكر وللمساكين تخويف وترهيب فكن لبيتك حلسا لا تفارقه إلا لشيء له في الشرع تصويب واذكر إلهك ذكرا دائما أبدا فالذكر بالذكر مقرون ومصحوب وذاكر الله يجالسه فاجلس مع الله تأتيك المواهب واطلب من الله ما تحتاج أجمعه فالخير يا ذا لديه والمطالب لا تسأل الله كريم الوجه خالقنا فعنده الفضل والإحسان مسكوب واعكف على بابه في كل ما نفس فإن نسيانه يا صاحبي حوب وكن أخي بحبل الله معتصما فكل حبل سواه فهو مقطوب واسلك على سنة الهادي تفوز وفي أولاك ترضى وفي أخراك محبوب ففي اتباع النبي الخير أجمعه عليه منا صلاة ربي يدوب تغشاه والآل والأصحاب أجمعهم ومن لمذهبهم في الخير منسوب والحمد لله رب العالمين.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. الحمد لله. we praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Inshallah we will continue from where we stop from the Sullam of Al-Imam Al-Akhdari. And today inshallah ta'ala we will enter into the second type of Qiyas istisnai. So in our last lesson we spoke about Qiyas istisnai muttasila. And Qiyas istisnai muttasila, the muqaddam and the tali are related. The muqaddam and the tali are related. This is the picture that I posted in our last lesson. We gave the example لو كان هذا إنسانا لكان حيوانا. This is قياس الاستثناء المتصل. المتصل meaning there is a connection between the first part of the sentence and the second part. The first premise and the second premise. لو كان هذا إنسانا, if this is a human, لكان حيوان, then it is a being. If it is a human, then it is a being. لكنه إنسان, but it is a human, فهو حيوان, then it is a being. So there is a connection between the muqaddam and the tali. So we have to get used to these words muqaddam, tali. The first premise is called the muqaddam, second premise is called tali. This is different than qiyas iqtirani. Qiyas iqtirani, we mentioned we have the muqaddimah al-ula and muqaddimah thaniya, the first premise and the second premise. But here the name is given as muqaddam and tali. So without wasting any time, inshallah, today we will enter into the next part. So as usual, we will look at the matan of Sullam. So the author mentioned faslun fil istisnai. Faslun fil istisnai wa minhu ma yud'a bil istisnai yu'rafu bi syarti bil amtirai. So we mentioned what is the meaning of qiyas al-istisnai. So the difference between qiyas al-istisnai and qiyas al-iqtirani is that qiyas al-istisnai, the conclusion is one of the premise, either the muqaddam or the tali. But when it comes to qiyas al-iqtirani, it is deduced from the premise from the premises. وهو الذي دل على النتيجة أو ضدها بالفعل لا بالقوة. This is the definition of قياس الاستثناء as we mentioned. All this we have spoken about. Last week this is what we covered. فإن يكن الشرطي ذا اتصال. This قياس استثناء متصل أنتج وضع ذاك وضع التالي ورفع تالي رفع أول ولا يلزم في عكسهما لمن جلا. So this is what we mentioned. لو كان هذا إنسانا لكان حيوانا لكنه إنسان. So either we affirm the first part of the premise or the second part of the premise. If we affirm the first part of the premise, then it coincides with the second part. If this is a human, then it is a being. So these are the examples that we gave in our last lesson, and we have covered this. But this is how we can understand the words of Al-Imam Al-Akhdari when he used the word rafa and wada. So wada meaning you affirm, rafa meaning what you call it, you reject. So affirmation and rejection is mentioned as wada and rafa. So you can affirm the first part of the premise and you reject the second part of the premise. You can affirm the second part of the premise and you reject the first part of the premise. So this is the meaning of wada and rafa. So he mentioned wa raf'u talin fa in yakun syartiyu zati sali antaja wad'u dhak wad'a tali. Wad'u dhak wad'a tali. Yani if you affirm the muqaddam, you affirm the tali. The example is what we mentioned earlier. لو كان هذا إنسانا لكان حيوانا لكنه إنسان. So now you وضع مقدم, يعني you affirm the first part, the muqaddam. So if you affirm you say لكنه إنسان, then the natija is, then it is حيوان, because we say لو كان هذا إنسانا لكان حيوانا. If this is a human, it is a being. لكنه إنسان, and it is a being. Now we affirm which part? we affirm any the muqaddam. So when we affirm any the muqaddam, yani we also any affirm the tali. So this is any the meaning any when he say antaja wad'u dhaka wad'a tali. Tamam. And then wa raf'u talin raf'i awwalin. Yani if you what you call it, reject any the second part, then also any you reject any the first part. Any all these things any you can refer any to the video which in the last any lesson, how yani certain situation, two situations and he will not give any go conclusion, two situations and he will give conclusion, as how yani you see in the table here. So this is munfasil. In the table here, this is any qiyas any muttasil. So this is muntij. Earlier as what we mentioned, lakinnahu insan fahuwa hayawan. But if we use any naqidul muqaddam, yani now we reject any the muqaddam, yani we say law kana hadha laysa bi insan, we said law kana insanan lakinnahu hayawan lakinnahu laysa bi insan. So this is naqid and muqaddam. So now any we reject, any meaning we negate. The better word is to use and is to negate. If we negate any the muqaddam, la yuntij shay'an. Because any if we say lakinnahu laysa insan, lakinnahu laysa insan. So negating humans, it doesn't mean what you call it, that it must be something else, because hayawan and it consists of humans and other things. So when we say what lakinnahu laysa insanan, what you call it, doesn't mean that other any than humans must be any hayawan. So that is why any we put a cross here. This shows any then the natija yani cannot be derived. And then any we spoke any about naqidu tali. So now the second part, the last part any is when we negate the tali, the second part any of the premise. We say law kana hadha insanan lakana hayawanan lakinnahu laysa bihayawan. That's what you see here. Lakinnahu laysa bihayawan, then the natija is fahuwa laysa insanan. If it is not any hayawan, then it is not insan, because insan any is part of hayawan. So this is any the meaning any of raf'u tali, raf'u tali, raf'u al-awwali. That's why the author any mentioned wa raf'u talin raf'a awwalin. Tamam. This is what any he said. So this can be any a bit tough any for some of you any who are not what you call it, familiar any with some any of these terms any, inshallah, but we will get used to it and inshallah. So this is meaning wa raf'u talin raf'a awwalin wala yalzamu fi aksihima liman jala, wala yalzamu yani fi aksihima. All these things any are presented any in this any table. So we have any all this what you call it, possibilities. So the first two possibilities any is when we do not any negate anything. The second two possibilities any is when we do a negation. We do in negation. So the first part in negation any of the first premise, the second part any is a negation any of the second any premise. So now inshallah ta'ala we will speak any about Qiyas, istisnai, munfasil. So we have any completed any muttasil. Now any we will speak any about al-munfasil. Al-munfasil any basically the muqaddam and tali any they are not related. They are not any related. We will give an example any later, but now any we look any at what the author any mentioned when it comes any to Qiyas, al-istisnai, al-munfasil. Yani he say wa in yakun munfasilan. Ini if it is any munfasil meaning any detach. Fa wad'u dha yuntiju raf'a dhaka. Fa raf'u wad'u dha, yani to affirm yani the first part any of the premise any the muqaddam, yuntiju raf'a dhak, yani it negates yani the second. If you affirm any the first, it negates any the second part. Wala aksu kada. Likewise, any if you affirm any the second part, any you negate the first part. What does it mean? Yani he is speaking any about this. So let us any go to this any chart. So what any the author is saying, and basically this in the term you call it mani'atul jam'i wal khulu. Mani'atul jam'i wal khulu. This is an example of qiyas al munfasil. But before that, and let us look at the example. He said mithal al adad imma zawjun wa imma fardun. So this is there is a muqaddam and there is a tali. Where is any the muqaddam? Imma zawj, a tali imma fard. Now, what is the meaning? We say numbers, al-adad meaning numbers. Imma zawj, either it is even, wa imma fard, or it is odd. So we say this is mani'atul jam'i wal khulu. Mani'atul jama' meaning you cannot combine both. Jama' meaning combination, you cannot combine. You cannot any be saying that a number yani is even and odd any at the same time. Yani it doesn't make sense. Yani number is either even and or odd. We do not have any a number that is even and odd at the same time. So we say this mani'atul jama'. Likewise, mani'atul khulu. We cannot any be saying that numbers there's no such thing as even any or odd. There is a number which is not even and which is not odd. Also, any this is not any acceptable. So this is any the meaning of mani'atul jam'i wal khulu, meaning you cannot combine them and you cannot dispose any all of them. You cannot any dispose or reject any all of them. So it has to be either one. It has to be either one. So imma zawj, either it is even, wa imma fard, either it is odd. So where is the muqaddam? The muqaddam yani is imma zawjun, the tali yani is imma fardun. So now we have this al munfasil. Why any munfasil? And that's what we mentioned. There is no any connection any between a zawj and a fard. These are two different things. It is not any binding. So that is why it is called a detachment, al munfasil. So now we will look at the possibilities. The possibilities yani if you affirm the muqaddam, uyyin al muqaddam yuntiju naqid tali. Yani we say for example al adad imma zawj wa imma fard, lakinnahu zawj. If we said but it is even, then meaning what? Falaysa bi fardin, then it is not odd. So now when we are saying numbers are either even or odd, but it is even. This number is even, meaning what? It is not odd. So this is the meaning. When you affirm the first part, you negate the second part. What do you affirm? You affirm evenness. What do you negate? You negate oddness. Tamam? We say this number is either even or odd, but it is even, meaning it is not odd. So you affirm the even and you reject or you negate the odd. So this is the meaning. This is the meaning of what the author mentioned. Now when we go back in his Sullam, the author mentioned, he said, wa in yakun munfasilan fa wad'u dha yani meaning you affirm the muqaddam yuntiju raf'a dhak, yani it will make you negate the second part. Wal aksu kada. What is the meaning wal aksu kada? Yani the opposite. What is the opposite? Uyina tali yuntiju naqid al muqaddam. Yani we say al adad imma zawjun wa imma fardun. Now yani we affirm the tali. How do you affirm the tali? You say lakinnahu fard. Lakinnahu fard. Yani it is odd. If it is odd, then what does it entails? Laisa bi zawjin. Yani it is not even. If the number is odd, any meaning it is not even. So this is an example yani of wad'u tali and raf'ul muqaddam. Wad'u tali, this is the meaning of aks. Because earlier yani we say wad'ul muqaddam raf'u tali. Now yani al-aks. Wad'ul tali raf'ul muqaddam. Wadaka fil akhas. Now here the author already mentioned this is the what you call it, the al-akhas. Al-akhas meaning here yani mani'atul jam'i wal khulu. This is the specific example for this term mani'atul jama' wal khulu, meaning this kind of syllogism is a kind where it cannot combine and it cannot be disposed altogether. So it is either or. So this is the first situation. And then the author mentions summa in yakun mani'a jam'in. Now the author is going to speak about the second type. that is mani' jama'. What is the meaning of mani' jama'? The meaning of mani' jama', yani you cannot combine them. The meaning of mani' jama', yani you cannot yani combine them. Let me get the graph. Oh, let me see. Hold on. I downloaded the graph. Okay. Just give me a minute. I will just get this. Okay. I will show the as usual, inshallah. Okay, this is an example of mani' jama'. What is the example? Al jismu imma abyad wa imma aswad. Meaning a substance or a body, either it is white or black. Imma abyad wa imma aswad. Imma abyad wa imma aswad. So where is the muqaddam? Muqaddam is imma abyad. The muqaddam is imma abyad. The tali is imma aswad. So now we cannot combine them, and we cannot be saying that a substance is both white and black. This is the meaning of mani'atul jama'. Meaning you cannot combine them. But it can be either than both of them. Yani we saying this something is not white and black, meaning it can be red, it can be yellow. So it is not mani'atul khulu. It is not mani'atul khulu, but it is mani'atul jama', meaning you cannot combine them, but you can get other than them. So this is the meaning of mani'atul jama' and mani'atul jama'. So it is different than earlier we mentioned mani'atul jam'i wal khulu. Al-adad imma zawjun wa imma fardun. So numbers either even or odd. So this is mani'atul jama', you cannot combine, and also you cannot, it is not other than both of them, because numbers is either even or odd, and it cannot be other than both of it. But here is different. It only mani'atul jama', but other than these two, yes, you can affirm something else. So al-jismu imma abyad wa imma aswad, you can negate both of it. You can say al-jism can be something that is not any abyad and not any aswad. Ala kulli hal, this is an example of mani'atul jama'. So we cannot combine. So now the author mentioned uyina al-muqaddam yuntiju naqid tali. So what happens if we affirm the muqaddam? We say al-jismu imma abyad wa imma aswad, lakinnahu abyad. Lakinnahu abyad. We say a substance is either white or black, but it is white. Meaning what? Meaning it is not black. If it is white it is not black. So when we affirm the muqaddam, we negate the tali. So this is the meaning of affirming the first part and negating the second part. And the second situation is uyina tali yuntiju naqid al-muqaddam. Uyina tali yuntiju naqid al-muqaddam. So now we do the opposite. Al-jismu imma abyad wa imma aswad, lakinnahu aswad. Lakinnahu aswad. So if it is aswad, then it is not abyad. Falaysa bi abyad. So this is the conclusion. So this is the right conclusion. Yani if you affirm the tali, you negate the muqaddam. No issue. The third one is naqidul muqaddam la yuntij. Yani if we say al-jismu imma abyad wa imma aswad, lakinnahu laysa bi abyad, but it is not any white. So if you say but it is not white, it doesn't necessarily mean it must be black. So here the conclusion yani, it doesn't give any conclusion. The conclusion cannot be dependent on, because when you negate whiteness, and when you say lakinnahu laysa bi abyad, the muqaddam, when you negate any the muqaddam, lakinnahu laysa bi abyad, it doesn't necessarily mean that it must be black. So that is why we say the conclusion yani cannot be ascertained. So this is any the third part. The last any is naqidu tali la yuntij. Now yani we negate the tali. So we say al jismu imma abyad wa imma aswad, lakinnahu laysa bi aswad. Lakinnahu laysa, but it is not yani black. So it is not black, not necessarily it is white. Same thing. So that is why yani we say here also that it is not muntij, la yuntij. Yani it doesn't give any the proper conclusion, because there are many possibilities. It is not any specific any in its conclusion. So 2 is muntij and 2 any is not muntij. So this is any the example of mani'atul jama'. So again any now any we take a look any at where we were any in Sullam. So the author yani mentioned fa in yakun munfasilan fa wad'u dha yuntiju raf'a dhaka wal 'aksu kada wa dhaka fil akhas. This is mani'atul jama' wal khulu. Then he mentioned summa in yakun mani'a jam'in, yani if it is any mani' jam'in, yani as what we mentioned earlier, fa bi wad'i dha zukin raf'un lidhak. Yani when we affirm any the first, then we negate the second. Duna aksin, but when comes any to the opposite, yani when we put any a negation, then any it doesn't give any natija, as what we mentioned. Wa idha mani'a raf'in kana huwa aksu the. This is any going any to be any the third type, which is mani'atul khulu. Mani'atul khulu. Now when we go any to the third type, it is called any mani'atul khulu. What is any the meaning any of mani'atul khulu? Any meaning it cannot any be other than what is mentioned. Mani'atul khulu, but it can be what you call it. It can be any combined. So it is the opposite of mani'atul jama'. So he said misaluhu al jismu imma ghayru abyad wa imma ghayru aswad. So he said any a body is either other than white or other than black. A body any is either other than white or other than black. So there are 4 situations. Number 1, uyina al muqaddam la yuntij. Yani if we say for example al jismu imma ghayru abyad aw ghayru aswad, lakinnahu ghayru abyad, but it is not white. Now this is la yuntij. Doesn't give any the what you call it the conclusion. Because why? Because when you say but it is not any white, there can be other colors. There can be other colors. So what you call it? It is not any something any that is specific any to anything. So does any this kind any of conclusion any is not any reliable, because any it is open any to many possibilities, and we can say ghayru abyad any are many, and basically all colors any other than white. It can be yellow, it can be red, and so on any and so forth. So this what will happens any when we affirm any the first part. Lakinnahu ghayru abyad. So if it is not other than white, what the color any of this jism, we do not know. It can be white, it can be what you call it yellow, and so on and so forth. Now any the second situation, now any we affirm any the second part, the tali. So we say al jismu imma ghayru abyad aw ghayru aswad lakinnahu ghayru aswad, but it is other than black. Same thing, and it doesn't give any a proper conclusion. This is what he mentioned here, the graph he mentioned uyina tali la yuntij. So when we affirm any the tali, it doesn't give any natija. Now any the third any situation any is to take the aks. This is what any the author any mentioned. We take any the opposite any by negation. Yani we saying al jismu imma ghayru abyad aw ghayru aswad lakinnahu abyad. We take the opposite, correct? No, this aks, because the opposite of ghayru abyad is abyad. That's why I say lakinnahu abyad fa huwa ghayru aswad. So if it is abyad, then it is not aswad. If it is white, then it is not, then it is other than black. If it is white, meaning it is other than black. Now this is a proper conclusion. This is a proper conclusion, which is a correct statement. Yani, if something is white, we say a body, a substance, and is either other than white or other than black, but it is white. If it is white, then meaning it is other than black. This is correct. This is a true statement. And then we take the tali. Al jismu imma ghayru abyad aw ghayru aswad lakinnahu aswad. We take the opposite of the tali, lakinnahu aswad, because the tali ghayru aswad. Now we take the opposite aks is aswad, lakinnahu aswad fahuwa ghayru abyad. So if it is black, any meaning it is other than white. So 2 is muntij and 2 is not muntij. When it becomes any muntij, when we take the opposite of the tali, then it becomes any muntij. But if we take the what you call it, muqaddam, if we take the muqaddam, then what you call it, it is not yani muntij. So let us go back to Sullam to understand this. Yani the author mentioned, after he speaks about mani'atu mani'u jam'in, so he said raf'un lidhaka duna aksin wa idha mani'a raf'in kana fahuwa aksu dha. So this is what you call it, it refers to mani'a khulu, as what we mentioned. So by this we have completed Qiyas al-istisnai. So basically Qiyas al-istisnai is divided into muttasil and munfasil. Difference is that muttasil the two premises muqaddam and tali are interrelated, whereas al-munfasil they are not interrelated, and they are of 3 categories: mani'atul jam'i wa khulu, and mani'atul jama' and mani'atul khulu. So inshallah in our next lesson we will speak about lawahiqul qiyas. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Allahumma salli wa sallim ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala ali sayyidina Muhammad. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah wa qina azaban nar. Sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.